Welcome. This module provides information about Tier 2 professional learning for school-based PBIS teams. Additional modules in this series are available regarding Tier 2 teaming, interventions, and evaluation. In this module, we'll explore resources that can be used to both teach and coach staff, as well as students and families, about the check-in, check-out process. Our roadmap is the Tier 2 Tiered Fidelity Inventory, or TFI. It contains 13 features organized within 3 categories: teams, interventions, and evaluation. In this module, we'll be focusing on feature 2.9, professional development. Feature 2.9 involves teams having a documented process that is followed for teaching all relevant staff how to refer students to a Tier 2 intervention, as well as how each Tier 2 intervention, such as check and check out, is implemented at that particular school. Take a moment to review the rubric or scoring criteria for this feature. The Tier 2 Tiered Fidelity Inventory is also located within each school's PBIS Google Drive. Before providing professional learning to staff regarding the check and check out process, for example, it's helpful for the Tier 2 team to reflect on the school's vision for implementing PBIS. Here's an example of one school's PBIS vision statement: promote a safe and nurturing environment by meeting students' unique educational and social-emotional needs. Each school's vision should be at the forefront of their messaging when introducing interventions to staff or when delivering refresher sessions. Regularly reminding staff of the school's vision helps all involved to understand the reason behind implementation, leading to greater consistency and buy-in. Take a moment to read this quote to yourself. In addition to aligning with school goals, it is important to share with staff the why behind intervention implementation, especially when it will involve intentional feedback and reinforcement from staff. Reinforcement helps to teach behavior initially, and eventually its frequency will fade. The goal is to develop the student's intrinsic motivation, but students also need help and scaffolding to get there. Reviewing this principle will help provide staff with the foundation needed before implementing a specific intervention, such as check-in, check-out. Well-designed staff training of check-in, check-out is one of the most crucial pieces in overall implementation, because check-in, check-out will only be successful if all staff understand why it is being done, if they see the value in it, and if they know who to go to if they need clarification or support. Messaging to staff is key. If staff don't see the value in the intervention, there won't be buy-in. The rationale and process of check and check out should be clearly communicated. It's important that the training is done with all relevant staff, because any staff member could potentially be involved with the students in the intervention. Check and check out video demonstrations, as we have provided in previous modules, are a great resource, but they are not enough. Each school needs to explain how their check and check out system will operate at their school. Each school PBIS team also needs to explain the process for referring a student to check and check out. This process, request for assistance, was discussed in the 3rd module within this Tier 2 series. We have also provided you with a sample staff professional learning presentation in this module, which reviews the check and check out intervention. Several components reviewed within this module are included within these slides. The school's Tier 2 team needs to introduce the check and check out daily progress report and how staff will use it as an instructional prompt. Staff should be trained on how to deliver feedback to students using the daily progress report and how student progress will be monitored by the team. You'll see an example of a daily progress report here on this slide. It's important to message to staff that the time spent upfront with the process of the daily progress report, the verbal feedback, and the checking in and out will actually earn the classroom teacher back time in the long run. It's important that staff understand that behavior change takes time and that changing behavior requires an instructional approach and consideration for each student's personal context. It's important that a written process is used to teach all relevant staff all aspects of intervention delivery. Staff need a resource to turn to if they have questions or need clarification regarding the intervention. To assist with this, we've provided each school PBIS team with sample handbooks suitable for K through 12 teams to adapt and use with their staff. These handbooks, as one you see here on this slide, have been helpful for many schools as a reference document, as they provide an organized way to document information and provide guidance on the check-in, check-out process. Schools may keep their handbook on a common SharePoint site or Schoology page for all staff to access. We have included a copy of this handbook here within this module. Within the handbook, a script is included as well as other resources to use when orienting staff, students, and families to the check-in, check-out process. Attention is given to gaining student input in the process. Also included is information for facilitators regarding student orientation, as well as how to teach students who need support accepting redirection. In addition, there's also information about how students will graduate from the intervention. Schools should consider how families of students on check-in, check-out will be informed about the process. Families should be notified promptly when their students are referred to and begin check-in, check-out. Typically, the designated staff member calls home, explains the intervention and how the student was chosen, and seeks parental consent. This is immediately followed with a letter home to gain written family consent. The handbook provided includes a script for a sample phone call home, as well as a sample form letter to gain written consent. We have also included a sample family letter within this module that schools can adapt for their own use. Providing more opportunities for feedback increases the likelihood of success within the check-in, check-out intervention. Within the handbook and training resources, we provided suggestions and sample scripts regarding what the facilitator, as well as the teacher, might say when delivering feedback to a student in check-in, check-out. The facilitator is the staff member who checks in with the student in the morning and checks out with the student in the afternoon. Take a moment to review some things the facilitator and the teacher might say to the student when reviewing the daily progress report. As mentioned, an important part of the process is teaching staff how to deliver feedback, how to use the daily progress report as an instructional prompt, and how to monitor student progress. Teams have found this quick reference guide format to be helpful as well in providing staff with a quick reference regarding these topics. It can be attached to a ring and referred to at a glance. We've also included this resource within this module. Staff need to be trained on this aspect. In addition, usually on the bottom of the form, there is a tear-off section that records celebrations and whether or not the student met his or her goal for the day. Families are encouraged to review the daily progress report with their child, sign it, and return it the next school day with the student. But students are not penalized in any way for not returning their parent contact form. As your PBIS team considers how to support staff in check-in, check-out and other Tier 2 interventions, identify who could provide expertise and support. Think about who on your team enjoys presenting. Will each team member take a section of the professional learning to share with staff? Who could you consult with for more ideas about your team's professional learning plan? To assist teams, we've provided a resource template within this module that assists teams in organizing their professional learning plan. Thank you once again for joining us in today's learning. We hope this module provided you with helpful information regarding delivering professional learning for Tier 2 interventions such as check-in, check-out.